Webinar House Rules. For Facebook Live participants, 1. Attendance monitoring via comment section. Participants are required to register their attendance through the Facebook Live comment section. Attendance instructions will be posted by the facilitator during the session. 2. Official attendance format. To validate attendance, participants must comment using the required format that will be provided during the webinar. Incorrect or incomplete formats may not be counted for attendance and certification purposes. 3. Active participation requirement. Participants are expected reflection questions, polls, activities, and discussion questions from the resource speaker. 4. Engagement during the webinar. Participants are encouraged to react to the live stream, share insights in the comment section, answer questions during discussions, participate in interactive activities, share the live stream to support mental health awareness advocacy. 5. Stay until the end of the session. Participants are encouraged to remain in the live stream until the closing ceremonies to fully benefit from the discussion and announcements. 6. Respectful online conduct. Maintain professionalism and respect in the comment section. Offensive, discriminatory, spam, or inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. 7. Questions for the resource speaker. Participants may raise questions during the open forum by commenting respectfully and clearly in the live stream comment section. 8. Certificate processing. Only participants who comply with attendance and participation requirements shall be eligible for certificate processing, subject to the webinar guidelines of the MHAV program. 9. Technical reminders. Ensure a stable internet connection and regularly refresh the live stream if experiencing delays or interruptions. 10. Support the advocacy. Participants are encouraged to invite friends, classmates, colleagues, and organizations to join the live stream in support of accessible mental health education and advocacy. Webinar House Rules. For Facebook Live participants, 1. Attendance monitoring via comment section. Participants are required to register their attendance through the Facebook Live comment section. Attendance instructions will be posted by the facilitator during the session. 2. Official attendance format. To validate attendance, participants must comment using the required format that will be provided during the webinar. Incorrect or incomplete formats may not be counted for attendance and certification purposes. 3. Active participation requirement. Participants are expected to actively participate throughout the webinar by responding to facilitator prompts, reflection questions, polls, activities, and discussion questions from the resource speaker. 4. Engagement during the webinar. Participants are encouraged to react to the live stream, share insights in the comment section, answer questions during discussions, participate in interactive activities, share the live stream to support mental health awareness advocacy. 5. Stay until the end of the session. Participants are encouraged to remain in the live stream until the closing ceremonies to fully benefit from the discussion and announcements. 6. Respectful online conduct. Maintain professionalism and respect in the comment section. Offensive, discriminatory, spam, or inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. 7. Questions for the resource speaker. Participants may raise questions during the open forum by commenting respectfully and clearly in the live stream comment section. 8. Certificate processing. Only participants who comply with attendance and participation requirements shall be eligible for certificate processing, subject to the webinar guidelines of the MHAV program. 9. Technical reminders. Ensure a stable internet connection and regularly refresh the live stream if experiencing delays or interruptions. 10. Support the advocacy. Participants are encouraged to invite friends, classmates, colleagues, and organizations to join the live stream in support of accessible mental health education and advocacy.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us all today in this important endeavor. We ask that you bestow your guidance and blessing upon each attendee. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. Bless everyone present today, that each may be able to share his or her contributions and gifts. Grant good health and safety to loved ones left outside this room, and bestow peace and goodwill to all of us. We ask for your wisdom and grace to use our talents for the betterment of others. May the various activities related to this day be a success through your intervention. With gratitude, we offer this prayer in your name. Amen.
Labs Educational Consultancy and Research Services, where innovation meets education and advocacy drives transformation. Founded in 2020, Star Labs emerged in response to a world adjusting to rapid educational shifts. At the height of the pandemic, while classrooms closed, learning continued online. We offered personalized tutorial and research services, guiding both students and professionals through the complexities of online learning and academic work. As the world reopened, so did opportunities. Star Labs expanded its reach by conducting nationwide on-site training for both private institutions and government organizations. From mental health and industrial psychology to leadership and other specialized topics, we brought meaningful learning experiences to life. Today, Star Labs continues to grow through Star Labs Academy, offering free short courses, professional webinars, and empowering volunteering programs. As an accredited enrollment coordinator of the University of Perpetual Help System, DOLTA, we also provide graduate and postgraduate education opportunities, strengthening our consultancy services for future leaders and professionals. Our flagship volunteering program, the Mental Health Advocacy Volunteer, or MHAV program, prepares young professionals to become certified community mental health coaches. Guided by Republic Act 11036, or the Mental Health Law of the Philippines. Our coaches will be trained to facilitate the implementation of mental health initiatives through the community-driven development approach. And for research services, Star Labs provides end-to-end academic support, quantitative and qualitative data analysis, instrument development and validation, grammar certification, consultation and revisions, and tailored services for individuals and groups alike. Behind every initiative is a vision led by our founder, Mr. Isri Koda Jr., a registered psychometrician, certified human resource associate, certified PEFL teacher, published author, and a proud member of the Psychological Association of the Philippines. With 5-year service and impact, Star Labs remains committed to its mission, bridging knowledge, building capacity, and empowering communities through education, research, and mental health advocacy. Let us hear some feedback from our previous training participants.
Good afternoon. My name is Goldie Jane L. Narciso. I'm from the Municipal Budget Office. So sa lecture about gaps and differences in generations at the workplace, dako kay kung nakatunan in understanding my office mates. So being the only millennial among my office mates who are all baby boomers, so that's helped me understand their working behaviors, their personality, and being one of the in higher position na mas bata ko sa ilaha, dako ka siyang tabang in handling them sa pagtrabaho.
Afternoon, I am Jane Yanosha Mante from MASO. Regarding the topic on the personality development, it means it encompasses the dynamic construction and deconstruction of integrative characteristics that distinguish an individual in terms of interpersonal behavioral traits. Indeed, personality development is ever changing and subject to contextual factors and life-altering experiences.
Star Labs Educational Consultancy and Research Services, Inspiring change, one mind at a time.
Webinar House Rules. For Facebook Live participants, 1. Attendance monitoring via comment section. Participants are required to register their attendance through the Facebook Live comment section. Attendance instructions will be posted by the facilitator during the session. 2. Official attendance format. To validate attendance, participants must comment using the required format that will be provided during the webinar. Incorrect or incomplete formats may not be counted for attendance and certification purposes. 3. Active participation requirement. Participants are expected to actively participate throughout the webinar by responding to facilitator prompts, reflection questions, polls, activities, and discussion questions from the resource speaker. 4. Engagement during the webinar. Participants are encouraged to react to the live stream, share insights in the comment section, answer questions during discussions, participate in interactive activities, share the live stream to support mental health awareness advocacy. 5. Stay until the end of the session. Participants are encouraged to remain in the live stream until the closing ceremonies to fully benefit from the discussion and announcements. 6. Respectful online conduct. Maintain professionalism and respect in the comment section. Offensive, discriminatory, spam, or inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. 7. Questions for the resource speaker. Participants may raise questions during the open forum by commenting respectfully and clearly in the live stream comment section. Certificate processing. Only participants who comply with attendance and participates shall be eligible for certificate processing, subject to the webinar guidelines of the MHAV program. 9. Technical reminders. Ensure a stable internet connection and regularly refresh the live stream if experiencing delays or interruptions. 10. Support the advocacy. Participants are encouraged to invite friends, classmates, colleagues, and organizations to join the live stream in support of accessible mental health education and advocacy.
Hello, good evening everyone. Magandang gabi sa lahat and welcome to our second MAV program, National Mental Health Free Webinar Series brought to you by the Star Labs Academy, powered by the Star Labs Educational Consultancy and Research Services, and of course, the Mental Health Advocacy Volunteer or the MAV program. This National Mental Health Free Webinar Series is part of the training and part of the immersion of the volunteers of the Mental Health Advocacy Volunteer Program in the entire country. And today, we will be kicking off the first webinar for this series that will start from May 7 until June 25. But before we proceed to our program proper, I would like to ask our audience, kamusta naman kayong lahat? Kamusta ho ang inyong mga araw? Kumusta ho kayo? Huwag ho kayong mahiya na mag-comment sa ating mga comment sections. Comment section. Ayan, marami din ho ang ating registered participant for the first session of our second MAV program or the batch 2 of this webinar series. Before I proceed, I would like to ask, okay naman, ayan, sabi ni Jay Cervantes, okay na okay po. Si Sir Jay Cervantes ay mula sa, taga saan ho ba si Sir Jay Cervantes? Taga saan ho ba si Mr. Jay Cervantes? Hanapin natin yung pangalan ni Sir Jay Cervantes, no? Ayan, si Sir Jay Cervantes ay mula sa Ginubatan, Albay. Sir, I hope that you are doing okay with your family as the Mayon volcano has just erupted, no? And I hope and we pray that your family is in good state. Ayan, Ginubatan Albay. Sabi naman ni Villa Castin, Ma'am Alodia Villa Castin, feeling good. That's great to hear, ma'am. Sabi naman ni Sir Bonifacio Dumago, glory to God. Yan ang pinakaimportante sa ating buhay. Ang sabi naman ni Ma'am Pamela Marie, si Ma'am Pamela Marie ay galing sa si Ma'am Pamela L. Balasabas ay galing sa Quezon City. And para sa ating mga participants na ngayon lang ho, kakapasok lang at kakasali lang sa ating live webinar for this evening, huwag ho ninyong kalimutan na i-comment ang inyong full name at ang inyong address. Yung city at saka province lang ay okay na para mag-credit ho bilang attendance ninyo at maging basis sa ating certificates for tonight's first session of this math program. And we are joined by 50 participants across the country, and this is just the first session of our second math program National Mental Health Free Webinar Series. And moving forward, sabi naman ni Sir Carl Reyes, pagod maghapon. Hahaha. Nakaka-relate naman tayo dyan, sir, no? Actually, walang hindi siguro pagod, no? Lalo na tayo ay nagtatrabaho. Hindi lang tayo pagod sa pagtatrabaho, pagod pa tayo sa pagko-commute dahil napakahirap mag-commute ngayon dahil nakunan, nabawasan na yung mga mga drivers, no? Kasi ang mahal-mahal ng crudo tsaka gasolina. But still, no, meron naman ding nasasakyan pa. So, relate, Sir Carl. Kasama naman natin si Ma'am Nina Isabel Tingson din. Great naman po. Sabi naman ni Sir James Gapasen, okay lang ho. Sabi ni Sir Emmanuel Diaz, I'm good po. Glad to be here. Sabi naman, ayan, nandito din pala, no, si isa sa ating future susunod, no, ng mga resource person dito sa MAVS series, mental health series, MAV program, si Reverend Chaplain Abraham Felix, no? Hello, sir. Very productive naman po ang araw na ito, sabi naman ni Ma'am Mariel Blaser Samson. Sabi naman ni Ma'am Violane Sara Ranoco, quite in low spirits but clinging to God. And that is really good to hear, ma'am. And we are glad that you are with us today despite not really feeling well. And nandito naman kasama natin, sabi ni Ma'am Abby, great po. Ayan, I hope that you have already, kasi ho, binabasa ho yan, no, ng ating technical team at nare-record din naman ang inyong attendance. And as much as possible, pakidamihan na lang ho ng comment. Pakidamihan naman lang naman ho ang comment ninyo, no, sa inyong pangalan at saka sa inyong mga address, no, city at saka province ay okay na para ma-record ho natin. Sabi ni Ma'am Adele Aida Manglal, doing good po. And we are joined, no, by a lot of participants, no, all over the country. Kasama ho natin si Ma'am Princess Fabon from Dasmariñas, Cavite. And sabi naman ni Sir Renato Bobot Bernardo, excited to hear from Mav team. God bless your ministry. Maraming salamat po, Sir Renato, for your kind words. And of course, kasama din natin, ayan, si Sir Elmar. Good evening. Elmar Aloysius S. Diaz from Mondragon, Northern Samar. And kasama din natin, no, si Miss Angelica Maribel Escoda, no, watching from Davao del Norte. Ayan, magandang gabi sa lahat ng mga taga Davao del Norte at hindi lang sa Davao del Norte. Lahat ng ating mga participants live. We have 55 participants live from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and we are very glad that you have chosen to spend your 1 hour and a half tonight every Thursday starting from this day, May 7 up until June 25. So, every week na ho yan. And we hope that hindi nyo ho kami iiwanan. And without further ado, before we proceed, keep your attendance coming lang ho sa comment section so that we'll be able to record all of you. And without further ado, allow me to introduce our resource person for this evening. Excited na ba kayong lahat, no? Si Ma'am ay excited na rin, sabi pa niya kanina. Parang napaka-nervous niya, no? Kinakabahan si Ma'am kasi first session ay na-assign sa kanya. And I don't know how she prepared, but I just know that she is more than credible, beyond credible to give us and to kick off the first session of the second math program organized by the Star Labs. And without further ado, allow me to introduce our resource person for this evening. Our resource person for tonight is the head of the Student Affairs and Services and Instructor 1 at Cavite State University Learning Center. She is a mental health advocate and educator whose work is grounded in student development, emotional awareness, and youth engagement. As a humanities instructor, she facilitates learning in areas such as understanding the self, ethics, and art appreciation, creating spaces where students are encouraged to think critically while feeling seen and supported. Beyond the classroom, she plays an active leadership role as an advisor to peer counseling groups and student organizations, strengthening support systems within the academic community. Her professional background also includes experiences in human resources and recruitment, equipping her with a systems level understanding of people behavior and organizational dynamics. This dual lens, education and industry, allows her to bridge institutional structure with real mental health needs, making her approach both practical and responsive. She is recognized as a natatanging Emusianyo awardee and a consistent academic achiever when she was still in college. And that's why today she will bring her credibility and grounded side to her advocacy. Through her involvement in community initiatives and volunteer work for underserved and indigenous groups, our resource person for tonight demonstrates that mental health advocacy extends beyond formal settings, whether facilitating seminars on stress awareness, self understanding, or youth development. She remains committed to making mental health conversations accessible, relatable, and actionable, especially for Gen Z and academic communities. And without further ado, our resource person for tonight, who will discuss the topic Grit, Emotional Regulation, and Nurturing Gen Z Strategies for Educators and Practitioners. Help me welcome Professor Generose D. Dabak. Magandang gabi ho, ma'am.
Hi, Sir M. Thank you so much po. Good afternoon po.
Kumusta ho kayo?
Ito na po, very excited po kahit na medyo kinakabahan.
And that's perfectly fine, ma'am, given that our participants are from all over the country. And without further ado, ma'am, I will give you now the floor so you'll be able to start and discuss our first topic, again entitled Grit, Emotional Regulation and Nurturing Gen Z Strategies for Educators and Practitioners.
Alright. Thank you so much po, Sir M, sa pag-aalaga rin po sa aming mga resource speakers for this program. And I'd like to express my gratitude din po sa Star Labs Academy for giving us an opportunity na maging part po ng MAV. And just a quick shout out lang din po before I go through to our discussion this afternoon. Hello po sa peer support group ng CVSU DASMA. They are watching right now. Thank you so much for the support. So, okay, let's move forward. So this evening po, I'll be discussing about grit, emotional regulation, and nurturing Gen Z. Alright, so since we're talking about Gen Z, sino nga po ba ang mga Gen Z? Taas po ang kamay dyan ng mga naniniwalang sila'y bahagi pa ng Gen Z. Ako po yung tataas, no? Okay po. So technically, when we talk about Gen Z, ito po yung mga ipinanganak between 1997 to 2012. So roughly their age is between 14 years old rather to 28 years old. So kapag po kayo nasa ganong age range pa, ay kayo po pasok pa sa banga, pasok pa po at makakonsider pa ang Gen Z, no? And then, if we're going to describe kung ano bang katangian ng mga Gen Z. According to Eldridge, ang mga Gen Z raw po ay very immersed when it comes to using technology and digital platforms, no? So let me just highlight that description kasi later on, we will define anong influence ng pagiging highly exposed digitally sa mental well-being natin bilang Gen Z. Okay? So moving forward, just to give you a quick background, so from Gen Z, GEN, dun ko po inalign yung ating discussion this evening. So G stands for grit, then E for emotional regulation, then N is about nurturing Gen Z. So let's proceed to G, which is grit. What is grit, no? So grit po ba yung pagbabati tayo ng hello, good morning? Ay, iba pala yun. Iba po pala yun. So, ang grit po, kung iahalin tulad natin siya in Tagalog word, it's like pagkakaroon ng tibay ng loob. No? So, ano po ba ang tibay ng loob at bakit siya nagmamatters or bakit nagmamatter ang grit? So, basically, grit is an important ingredient para move forward tayo sa mga challenges na gusto nating ma-accomplish. So this is your ability to persevere through setbacks or possible failures na pwede nating maranasan in life. Now, aside from that, next slide po, please. Kahit na tayo'y merong grit or tinatawag nating tibay ng loob, grit alone is not enough without emotional support. So, bakit po kaya, no? So, I want you to know na kahit yung pinaka-determined na tao or individual, kahit yung taong may pinakamalakas na loob na sumubok, kung sila po'y walang proper ways to navigate their emotions, merong tendency na sila'y mag-breakdown or magkaroon ng overwhelming emotions. That's why dito po papasok si emotional regulations. Ano po ba ang emotional regulations? Okay, so to define emotional regulation, this is your ability to effectively manage and respond to your emotional experience. The way how you process your emotional experience, your feelings, that's part of your emotional regulation. And it is said po that emotional regulation ay pwede nating ma-process into two different ways. Pwedeng through healthy ways or unhealthy ways. So I'll be showing you what are the healthy and unhealthy ways to regulate or to vent out our emotions. Okay, so these are the following. I won't go through deep na po dito dahil very explainable din naman siya, pero just to briefly discuss, so here are the different ways of healthy ways to regulate our emotions. We have talking with friends, no? Pag-exercise to get happy hormones, writing in journal, pwede ring meditation, and of course, taking care of yourself when you're physically ill. And then, in contrast, when it comes to unhealthy ways of venting out our emotions, there are people na nagre-resort sa mga maladaptive actions na pwede ding mag-cause ng harm sa kanila tulad po ng mga nakikita ninyo sa screen, mga umiinom ng alak, not literally pag-inom nga the term is abusing alcohol, so ibig sabihin consistent na pag-inom talaga, and then self-injury, avoiding or being withdrawn kapag nahaharap sa mga mahihirap na sitwasyon, then pagiging aggressive, no? So that's how a person can do when it comes to venting out his or her emotions. Now that we define what is grit and emotional regulation, let's see what's the correlation between these two. Okay, so connection of grit and emotional regulation. Surprisingly, there are research studies na nagsasabing ang mga taong or ang individual na merong develop na emotional skills or emotional awareness ay sila yung mas may chances na mas mag-persevere in life. So, napatunayan ng mga research studies na mas madadevelop natin ang tibay ng loob or ang grit kung tayo ay merong emotional awareness as a person. So, yan po ang ating initial definition when it comes to grit and emotional regulation. Now, moving forward, now that we know what is grit and emotional regulation, and now we're about to determine or to understand the current state ng mental health ng mga Gen Z. Ano na nga po ba ang lagay ng mental health ng mga Generation Z or ng mga Zoomers ngayon, no? So according po sa UNICEF 2025, ang mga Gen Z right now, dahil nga po, as per description, sila ay highly immersed when it comes to technology and online digital platforms, ang tendency na de-develop nila yung online validation. Yan. Usong-uso po yan sa mga kabataan na nagkakaroon sila ng online validation pressure. So, paano po ba yun nangyayari? So, for example, yung mga kabataang very afraid na to post kasi natatakot silang baka wala silang makuhang likes o kaya iba yung ma-perceive sa post nila. And then yung mga karaniwan pa nga po sa mga Gen Z ngayon, hindi na halos na po profile picture. Yung mga ano na lang, icon or person emoticon na lang para kunwari mysterious, yan. Kasi ayaw nila na perceive sila sa social media dahil meron silang inaalaga ang online reputation kumbaga. And on top of that, according to UNICEF din, yung status ngayon ng mental health ng mga Gen Z, dahil nga highly exposed tayo sa digital platform, is that bumababa yung ating frustration tolerance. So, paano po siya nangyayari? So, for example, nag-message ka, yan, tapos hindi ka na-replyan. So, ang tendency, ikaw, may high chances na makaramdam ka you are being ignored. Kaya ang gagawin mo, i-delete mo na lang ang mga message mo. Yan. Uso yan sa mga kabataan ngayon. Hindi mo lang na-replyan saglit. Didelete na yung message kasi pakiramdam nila para nai-ignore sila. Okay? And then, also, to discuss the current state ng mental health ng mga Gen Z right now, sinasabi rin ng UNICEF na sila raw ay may tendency na magkaroon ng information overload. So bakit po kaya? So dahil nga tutok tayo sa kakascroll, ang nangyayari fast pacing yung mga pumapasok na information sa ating brain process. Now, because of these tendencies na nangyayari sa Gen Z, iilan lang din yung mga may kakayahan na mag-reach out or mag-seek ng help kapag very disturbing na yung nangyayari sa kanilang mental well-being. Now, dito po ngayon papasok ang role nating mga practitioners at educators. Okay, so bilang mga educators na mga nanonood po dyan at practitioners, meron tayong crucial na pananagutan or responsibility sa ating mga estudyante or sa ating mga nakakasalamuha kung paano mai-improve yung kanilang mental and academic well-being. Because the way how we approach them, it can either give them strength or make them mag-cause sa kanila ng harm. So either make them or break them. That's why important na bilang practitioner ay kinoconsider natin paanong approach ba ang dapat na gagawin nating atake para sa mga Gen Zs or sa mga estudyante na ating na-encounter. So, I'll be showing you, next please, yan. Thank you, sir. I'll be showing you here the different approaches according sa age na suggested then by literatures and theoretical studies. So, around 6 to 10 years old, usually, yan po ay nasa gang stage pa. So, sa psychosocial development theory ni Eric Erikson, kapag nasa gang stage pa ang mga bata or estudyante, they tend to give their focus sa peer relationships, sa pagbibuild ng kaibigan, pakikisalamuha or pakikipag-interact. So, yan po ay crucial part ng development dahil they are building their resilience, which is a stepping stone for our grit or lakas ng loob. Okay? And then moving forward, we also have here for 11 to 13 years old, at this point, ang approach na pwede nating ibigay, since nasa puberty stage na yung mga bata or estudyante, we have to make them understand na dahil nasa transition, nasa puberty stage sila, there are growths na possible mangyari sa mga physical bodies nila, and then those changes na nangyayari ay part po ng biological process. Kasi sometimes hindi properly guided yung mga kabataan kapag may mga physical changes na nangyayari kasi hindi sila nai-inform. So at this point, we have to make them know na yung mga pagdadaanan nilang ganong process ay normal lang at talagang kasama siya sa growth development as a person. Okay? And then for people around 14 to 18 years old, so in this part, so ang pinakahinahanap na ng mga kabataan karaniwan is kung paano nila i-establish ang trust. So since ito kasi yung age na nasa teenage era sila, di ba? Teenage life. So they need to find someone na pwede silang maintindihan, pwede silang mag-guide nang hindi sila nahuhusgahan. So sa gantong edad po, yung approach na binibigay natin sa kanila is dapat about influences na makakabuti sa kanila. Since teenager nga, ang pinaka-goal natin dyan is maiwasan natin ma-develop nila yung mga harmful behaviors during teenage life. Okay? Now, I have here a statement wherein students learn more from how we respond than what we teach. Bakit po kaya? Bakit mas natututo ang mga bata, the way how we respond to what we teach. So, in an academic setup, ang learning process na ibinibigay natin ay hindi lamang po iyon tungkol sa lesson na ibinababa natin. So, students are not just absorbing lessons, but they are also absorbing behaviors. So, if we want to show sa mga estudyante kung paano maging kalmado, dapat kapag nasa stressful situations tayo, na ipapakita rin natin yun sa kanila. Kasi how can we expect them na maging kalmado sa mga stressful situation kung tayo din po mismo ay mga aligaga. Pero guilty din po ako dun minsan, na naaligaga din po. So now, given this, there are different strategies kung paano natin i-develop ang grit at emotional regulation among Gen Z. Una na po dyan, yung binanggit ko rin na example kanina, which is modeling the emotional regulation. So according din sa ating social learning theory, no, nai-imitate nai-imitate or na-acquire rather ang isang behavior depende sa kung ano yung nai-imitate at na-oobserbahan niya. So we really have to be careful kung ano yung behavior na ibinibigay natin sa mga nakakita sa atin. Okay? Next one. It's to teach coping skills among the students. So I have here two examples of coping skills which are emotion focus and then problem focus. So kapag emotion focus, you're after dealing with your emotions, diba? How will you regulate your emotions? So there are different ways. Pwede kang mag-exercise, magpahinga na muna, or mag-meditate. And then another is problem-focused coping skills. This one is focusing about addressing the problem. So, for example, lagi kang nalilate. So, to address that problem, you do time management. So, that's an example of problem-focused coping skills. Now, it's important na tinuturuan natin ng coping skills yung mga estudyante or mga nakakasalamuhan natin. It's because para hindi sila nag-re-resort sa mga maladaptive behaviors or actions na pwedeng mag-cause sa kanila ng harm. So kung matututunan nila kung paano dapat mag-bounce back in a very healthy manner, so later on or eventually, ay kakayanin nilang mag-move forward nang hindi sila sobrang disturbed as a person. Okay? Next po is to build grit through process praise. So, sa pag-establish natin ang tibay ng loob ng isang tao, it's important na hindi natin pinupuri lang yung natural talent na meron sila. Kasi kahit gaano ka kagaling, kung wala kang tibay ng loob, hindi mo ma-maximize yung talent mo na meron ka. Now, it's important na ang ina-acknowledge natin is yung perseverance ng tao or effort ng tao. I'm not saying na dapat i-discard na lang natin yung natural talent ng mga tao. But what I'm trying to say is that hindi kasi lahat ng tao ay pinanganak na gifted. Hindi lahat ng tao ay pinanganak na magagaling. Pero they are trying. They are thriving. So their effort na sumubok, their effort na ipakitang kaya nila, ay yun dapat yung pinipraise natin para ma-establish natin yung grit ng bawat individual. And through that, na-encourage natin sila magkaroon ng persistent mindset kasi mapaperceive nila na kahit hindi sila kagalingan, pero kung sila ay nag-persevere, nagtiyaga, na magpatuloy, kaya nilang ma-accomplish yung ginugol nilang bagay. Okay? So, next po is to normalize struggle. So, this is one of my favorite strategies, no? Kasi as a person, we overly fantasize the idea of success, di ba? Sino ba naman din kasi ang ayaw i-manifest ang success sa buhay? However, because of overly fantasizing success, nalilimutan pag ang nangyayari, nagsiset na tayo ng mga expectations sa sarili natin na kapag hindi natin nami-meet ang tendency, nagiging frustrated tayo as a person. Nalilimutan na natin na normal lang din talaga na makaranas tayo ng mga setbacks or struggles in life na hindi siya nangyayari dahil mahina ka, kundi nangyayari siya dahil parte talaga siya ng path na dinadaanan natin. So, importante na ma-establish natin yung grit or tibay ng loob para kahit na maranasan natin yung different challenges na pwedeng pagdaanan natin, alam natin kung paano tayo mag-move forward. Okay? Next one is to create safe learning spaces. So, bilang teacher din po, ito ay isa sa mga pinapractice ko din talaga sa mga students ko. Every time na nasa loob ako ng classroom, as much as I can, I make them feel safe inside the classroom. Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga personal struggles sa pinagdadaanan nila sa bahay nila, or mga personal issues nila sa sarili nila, sa pamilya nila, sa kaibigan nila and such. So, mano man lang ba na kahit sa eskwelahan, makatakas sila doon. At sa eskwelahan, meron silang masusumpungan na ligtas na spaces kung saan hindi nila kailangan mag-overthink. Mag-overthink pero sa mga academic works. Pero kung nag-overthink ka pa sa ginagawa sa'yo ng teacher mo, ayun yung medyo nakakasad, no? Okay, pero disclaimer lang po, this one, it must happen with proper boundaries, no? Dapat kahit na they are very safe with you, dapat alam pa rin nila yung mga compliance na dapat nilang gawin within the classroom. Kasi baka mamaya, sobrang feel safe nila sa'yo, no? Hindi na sila nag-comply. Na safe naman ako sa'yo, ma'am, hindi na ako magpapasa. Hindi po yun ganun, ha? Okay. Next po is to do collaborative problem solving. So, collaborative problem solving, it enables the person na maki-involve, no? Kapag mas involved ang isang tao sa decision making, mas meron silang emotional control. That's why it's important sa mga classroom setup na we let them decide or we ask them what they want to do instead of just asking them what to do. Okay? So sa counseling po, actually, just to share, ganyan din ang atake natin. Hindi ini-impose sa client kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin. Hindi tayo nagbibigay ng advice na, dapat ganito, ganito ang gawin mo, ganyan. Instead, we let them think. We let them know kung ano sa tingin nila yung pwede at dapat nilang gawin. Okay? So, mas involved kasi sila, mas may decision sila dun sa nangyayari. Mas kaya nilang i-navigate yung emotional processes. Moving forward po, we have to, as practitioner, design supported intervention. So when we talk about interventions, it's us being intentional sa ating mga estudyante or sa ating mga kakilala kung paano natin sila tutulungang lumago mentally and academically, no? Since tayo ay parang kino-consider din na parang pangalawang pamilya, pangalawang parent kapag sila ay nasa school. Siyempre, meron tayong unconscious care sa kanila. Care kung paano nila mapapabuti ang sarili nila emotionally and academically. So through interventions, ito yung mga pwedeng gawin na maaaring makatulong sa kanila. I provided here samples like reflective journals para nakakapag-vent out sila. We also have peer support groups na pwedeng hingian ng tulong kapag kailangan na nakakausap. And then mental health check-ins and emotion check before start of the classes. Now, that's for the different strategies na pwede nating i-administer as practitioner and educators, no? But before I conclude my discussion this evening, I have here a quote, at I think nabasa nyo na rin to. Very well-known quote wherein fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Diba? Kasi sa haba ng lifestyle development ng isang tao, we don't know kailan natin or kailan tayo makakaranas ng mga pagsubok. We don't know kailan tayo makakaramdam ng pagka-burnout, kailan tayo ma-overwhelm, kailan tayo mapapagod. Kasi it's a series of challenges in life eh. So, but this discussion this evening, which is pagkakaroon ng tibay ng loob, no matter how many times you fall down, be it 7 times, I hope you learn how to stand up sa ikawalong beses or ikawalong pagkakataon. And through grit or pagkakaroon ng tibay ng loob, it will help us to continue, and by emotional regulation, it will help us to heal and move forward eventually without losing ourselves in the process of challenges na pagdadaanan natin. So, yun lang po for this evening. Thank you so much. I hope you get a fruitful discussion about grit and emotional regulations. Thank you so much po.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jones. That was Professor Jones, the Davao of the Cavite. Tama ba, Ma'am? Cavite State University. Maraming salamat po sa inyong very short discussion. But very informative. Ang dami ko that is the beauty of always continuing the learning development. Kasi ito, personally, I believe that learning for me is a lifelong process. Kahit na nasa stage na tayo at buhay, learning must be always present. Maraming salamat for the strategies na na-share ni Ma'am. Of course, since we ended the webinar proper early, we will be having plenty of time for our question and answer portion or our open forum. I believe uh, participants have already dropped. No? Hello?
I'm sorry. Oh, klaro na ho ba yung audio ko? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Ayan. Klaro na ho ba? I'm sorry ho. No, paunhin ho no sa aking technical problem. Hindi ko ho na down yung aking microphone. Ayan, klaro na ho ba ngayon? Klaro na ho ba? Okay na. Sige po. Pasensya po. Okay. Ayan, ulitin ko lang po kasi maingay daw yung audio ko kanina, no? Ma'am Jenny Rose, maraming salamat po for your informative discussion and marami ho kaming natutunan doon sa mga strategies na na-share ninyo. And I believe that our participants as well have learned a lot, no, from the strategies, starting from the coping mechanisms, doon sa unhealthy, tsaka mga healthy na coping mechanisms, as well as doon sa mga characteristics talaga ng mga Zoomers. No, again, tatanungin natin ng mga participants natin, sino ba ang mga Zoomers, mga Gen Zs yan? Ma'am, to clarify lang, yung ating Gen Z ay nagsisimula sa anong taon? Anong taon, ma'am, yung
Hi,
kanilang...
sir.
Yes,
Alright
ma'am.
po. 1997 to 2012.
Alright. So, kapag kayo po ay pinanganak ng 1997, so kayo po ay pasok na sa Gen Z. So, dahil ako ay 1998, ma'am, Gen Z na pa rin ako. Gen Z pa na ako. Kayo din, ma'am, I assume Gen Z din kayo. Tama?
Actually po, 18 years old po.
Wow.
Joke lang. Nakatibulan pa lang.
Actually, 18 years old din ako, ma'am. So, marami tayo dito.
Marami po pala.
Ayan. Thank you, ma'am. So, again, maraming salamat, Ma'am Jen. And we are now open for our question and answer portion. And since our open forum, no, is not, hindi ho siya, ano bang tawag doon? Doon sa opposite ng compulsory, hindi po siya, kailangan ho ng participants natin ay magbigay ng question bawat isa sa kanila, no? So, may questions na ho tayo, ma'am, no? Let's start with Ma'am Nina Isabel Tinson. Ayan. Is there ever a time that an individual will lose their grit, that they are unable to bounce back? If yes, how does one get their grit back? Thank you. Go ahead, Jen.
Alright. Thank you so much po, Miss Nina. Alright, so with your question, yes po, meron talagang chances na pwedeng mawala ang grit natin in life. Kagaya po ng na-mention ko earlier, ang progress ng isang tao ay hindi siya linear or straight line lang. Throughout the time, maaring zigzag moment talaga siya. Sometimes you're at your highest point, sometimes nasa lowest point ka ng buhay mo, pero after nun, makaka-move forward ka, you're good again, and then so on and so forth. So yes po, possible talagang mawala yung grit natin. And then, moving forward to your question, kapag ka you're unable na to bounce back, yes, hindi natin sinasara na halimbawa po nawalan na kayo ng grit tapos may chances bang mahirapan ako mag-bounce back. Hindi po natin sinasara yung possibilities. So kung ganun po, paano ibabalik ang grit? So I suggest unang-una talaga kapag feeling ninyo it's really hard for you to get back sa sarili ninyo, seek professional help na. Mag-reach out tayo ng mga resources na pwede nating lapitan with regard to what's happening sa atin. Kasi kung sa sarili natin hindi na natin naiintindihan, maybe kailangan na natin ng professional help for that po.
Thank you. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Jen, for your response. Now, moving forward, we have another question from Elmarvilin May Diaz. I hope I've read your name, ma'am, in the right way. What kind of supportive environments do you think best promote mental wellness for young people? From Ma'am Elena S. Diaz, LPTRSW Mondragon, Northern Samar. Ayan.
Alright.
Go ahead, Ma'am Jen.
Okay, thank you so much for Ma'am May Diaz for that question. So, a kind of support na pwede nating maibigay sa young people as syempre part ng young people, yes. Ang unang-una po is someone they are able to relate with. So, someone na mararamdaman nilang maiintindihan talaga sila. So, sometimes po kasi, ang struggle na nangyayari, kaya minsan walang meeting point, is because of age gap. Sometimes yung approach ng mga, hindi ko sinasabing mali po ang mga matatanda, pero sometimes yung mga approach sila na hindi na aligned sa pinaniniwalaan ng mga young people. So it's important na meron silang nakakasalamuha na same with their age, pero at the same time, that person ay grounded para sa mga tamang bagay or dapat gawin po. Okay?
Thank you very much, ma'am, no? And I think I would have to add, no, to that
Yes,
something
sir,
because
sure.
I'm still part, no, from the Gen Z. Kung okay lang naman ho, no, I'm still part of the Gen Z population. So, how do we provide supportive environments? While, no, I agree with ma'am, ang addition ko lang po is I think yung pagiging empathetic natin, no? So, kasi ang isa ho talaga sa number one na barrier doon kasi yung ating generational gap na tinatawag, 'di ba? Mayroon tayong Gen Zs, mga Gen X, at saka yung mga boomers, no? Doon pa lang is napaka-clear na ng boundaries, no, ng bawat generations. And yung sa akin lang, if we can extend to the young people our empathetic approach, no? Ibig sabihin, we try to understand their perspective, no? We try to parang kung sa ano pa sa kung kapag nagsasalita ka sa bata dapat you have to sit down as well to level with him or her, no, doon sa bata. The same with the Gen Zs kasi yung Gen Zs talaga ibang-iba yung values eh. Yun lang ho, no? Parang yung dapat yung empathy lang na kung ipagpalagay lang natin na ilagay natin yung mga sarili natin doon sa perspective or yung kung paano ho yung mag-isip yung mga Gen Zs. And I think alam naman natin, 'di ba? Doon sa na-discuss ni Ma'am Jen, Professor Jen, ay nalaman natin kung ano yung characteristics ng Gen Z, that they are digital natives, no? At isa diyan, if I may add, no, doon sa workplace, yung ating mga Gen Zs ay they tend to align their values or they tend to choose their companies na ina-applyan nila which is aligned with their values. And they are not hesitant to hop to another job, to hop to another company if their values do not align with the company anymore. So, ang tawag po dyan, usong-uso ngayon, yung job hopping ng mga Gen Zs, no? So, yun lang ho, ma'am, no? And I hope that we have given justice, no? And siguro shed light on your question. Do you agree with me, Prof. Jen?
Actually, Sir M,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you so much for adding that information. Ang mga Gen Z
Uh,
kasi ngayon, they are very woke. So, sobrang highly
yes.
aware nila sa
Mm,
mga bagay-bagay. It's because they are
mm,
engaged and exposed din
mm.
sa social media. So, nakikita nila yung what's happening. That's why they tend to be more aware din po talaga sa mga ganung bagay. Thank you, sir.
I agree. I agree with you, ma'am. Yun yung kagandahan ng ating conversations, no, na ganito. Kasi we touch a lot of aspects, no, sa mental health, no, not just in the mental health na aspeto ng mental health itself, but kung papaano na-apply, no, or paano yung mga challenges sa iba't ibang ah, field katulad ng trabaho, no, employment, at saka sa paaralan at sa ibang settings pa. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Professor Jen. Let's move on to the next question from Noemi Shan Enapol. No? So, given that Gen Z are digital natives, do they prefer virtual mental health support over traditional face-to-face counseling? Go ahead, Ma'am Jen.
Alright. Um, Wala pa akong nababasa so far na preferably mas gusto ng Gen Z ngayon ang virtual setup. However, when it comes to counseling, merong different strategies na pwedeng gawin na mag apply sa pangangailangan ng mga clients. So, pag online, meron tayong teleconsultation para kung halimbawa masyadong malayo or mas prefer ni client na through online modality, pwede yung mga ganong bagay. And then kung face-to-face din, it's the usual setup, yung traditional na ginagawa natin. Pero so far, ganun yung varieties na meron or options when it comes to doing counseling.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. No, I agree. I support ma'am Professor Jen's statement kasi nga we have to go with the facts, no? So, wala pa din ho ako nababasa no na may preference ang ganyang if kasi I'm a Gen Z myself again, no? So, ako personally, I would prefer na personal, no, yung mental health service delivery if I were to be asked, no? But we could not generalize. No, but it's a possibility. No, kasi meron na din doon po pumapasok I think no yung parang integration na ng mga telehealth or yes, telehealth counseling no na available ngayon and one of the questions from Jen no if I were to integrate this na lang no kasi may mga counselors, online counselors or counseling sessions led by artificial intelligence, no? Na pumupunta na doon sa mga AI ang ating mga kabataan para magsalita or magsabi kung ano yung nararamdaman nila. And what do you think about that, ma'am? May I know your thoughts? At
Ayun
Ma'am
yung
Jen,
gusto.
Professor Jen, before I give you the floor, no, to answer that, I would like to ask our participants, no, as part of our certificate, our requirements for tonight, I would like to ask them to please share, no, this session tonight kasi ang ganda ho ng conversations natin and what makes this conversation very interesting is because our participants are very responsive and our participants are very interactive. So please do share, no, yung ating session ngayon as we move forward with the open forum. Go ahead, Professor Jen.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sir Ems. Actually po, ang mga kabataan ngayon, kailangang mas maging matalino when it comes to navigating AI. Kasi ang hirap na rin i-distinguish yung totoo sa hindi when it comes to social media. Kaya kapag ikaw as individual, hindi ka highly trained, I'm not really trained, highly aware sa difference ng AI sa hindi, pwede kang maloko, maniniwala ka sa mga pinoproduce ng AI na hindi naman talaga validated pa. So, ayun po, when it comes to AI matters.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree with you, Professor Jen. Kasi nga, walang empathy yung AI, no? Kasi ang meron siya algorithm, while the AI could possibly give you what you want to hear and to how to validate. The AI knows how to validate your feelings and emotions, no? The AI was made mainly of algorithms lang, no? So wala talagang human touch unless they have achieved that level, ma'am, no? So it's also risky. For me, ma'am, no, Professor Jen, if umabot na tayo sa ganyang mga level. So thank you, Ma'am Jen, for your thoughts. Now, if you will allow me, I will have to proceed to the next question. Ito parang mahaba. Natabunan na yung ating mga mukha. Good evening po. First, thank you sa inyong insightful talk. I would like to ask lang po, you noted po kanina that Gen Z often develops their mental health status based on online validation. How can we help students po to detach their self-worth from social media metrics like likes and comments? Thank you po. This is from Divine Heart of Malvar, Batangas. Go ahead, Ma'am Jen.
Alright, thank you so much po, Divine Heart. Di ba, divine na nga heart pa. Talagang punong-puno ng pagmamahal ang iyong pangalan ngayong gabi. De kidding. So with your question, yeah, since ang Gen Z ay highly exposed when it comes to digital technologies, highly associated yung online validation nila doon. Ngayon, meron tayong tinatawag na digital self. So, ang digital self natin, this is how we present ourselves in the digital platforms. Ano tayo sa social media? Ano tayo sa Facebook, sa Instagram? So, meron tayong mga pinoproject na ganong image, no? Now, going back to your question, paano natin matutulungan yung mga estudyante natin na i-detach yung self-worth nila doon sa mga social media standards na meron, no? So, diyan po papasok yung idea na pagkakaroon ng buhay sa labas ng SOCMED na meron tayo, no? So, ang reality natin ay hindi lang pwedeng nai-involve na lang sa kung gaano karaming likes yung nare-receive ng post mo. So, it's good pa rin na grounded tayo sa buhay natin out of social media, which is ano ba yung mga pwede mong gawin kapag wala ka sa social media mo. Doing your hobbies, going out with your friends, catching up with your families or having a good talk with your colleagues. So, dahil walang social media presence doon, parang walang pressure kung may likers ka ba or wala, mas grounded yung mind mo doon sa kausap mo in reality. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Professor Jen, no, for your answer. We also have here another interesting question from Jaysa Herrera. How would one differentiate grit and resilience now based on the topic you discussed? Go ahead, Prof. Jen.
Okay, that's actually a good question kasi may tendency na may interchange yung grit and resilience. So, when we talk about grit, pagkakaroon ng tibay ng loob na kahit maraming setbacks na pwedeng mangyari, ay nagpe-persevere ka pa rin to continue. So, move in contrast with resilience, sometimes kasi resilience, it happens when you are just tolerating inconveniences. So for example, kaya mo namang mag-commute ng 30 minutes lang. Pero dahil sa traffic, nagiging 3 hours. So ikaw, na papasok ka pa rin kahit na 3 hours yung nagiging commute mo, thinking na kasi resilient ka, parang kaya mo siyang i-tolerate. So I think you're getting the idea, but resilience, it's more of tolerating inconveniences rather than grit na you're persevering na ma-overcome yung mga setbacks and challenges or failures na pwede nating maranasan. Kaya nga po, di ba, meron din tayong parang napag-uusapan ngayon sa SOCMED na hindi dapat masyadong niro-romanticize ang pagiging resilient ng mga Pinoy.
I agree. I agree with you, ma'am, no? Kasi nga parang minsan naaabuso yung pagka-resilient ng mga Pinoy, no? Dahil kasi din the culture, no? Filipino psyche is one of the Filipino psyche, no, na kultura talaga ng mga Pinoy is when you give them a problem, they tend to always bounce back, no? They tend to always parang bumabangon palagi, no? And sa kabila or sa gitna ng mga sakuna, sa gitna, parang we tend to become a more closer community, or we tend to develop or to showcase or to display or to portray, no, the bayanihan spirit when facing problems, no? So yun nga lang, sabi ni Ma'am, Professor Jen, naabuso siya minsan, and that becomes a national talk ngayon dahil nga yung resiliency ng mga Pinoy ay yun, naaabuso. And I agree with ma'am, no, na parang you are just tolerating inconveniences when you say resilience kasi nga parang you have no choice, no, of what you are doing. And the only choice is to move forward, no? But when you say grit, I think it's your will to persevere, no? Persevere. It's your will to move forward despite these inconveniences. No? Thank you so much, Ma'am Jen, Professor Jen, for drawing a line between the two things. Now we have another question. Hello, si Ma'am Sheer Valencia. Hello and good evening. Thank you for the fruitful discussion. I'd like to inquire about the role of a counselor influencing organizational change. No, eto ma'am, parang siguro you can shed a light to this. Specifically, how can a counselor effectively drive change within an organization that has not yet adopted a healthy learning or coaching culture? Go ahead, Prof. Jen.
Okay, so I assume this is more like corporate setup, sir. Tama po, ano? Okay, alright. So,
I think so, ma'am.
okay po. So just to go back with the question, how can a counselor effectively drive change within an organization that has not yet adopted a healthy learning or coaching culture? Oh, I see. All right. So, first thing, not really the first thing, but one of the basics when we're establishing a new changes na nangyayari within a corporate setting is to properly orient the people na sasakupan natin or the management na nahahawakan natin. So if they are properly oriented or informed, then that's our starting point to inform them when it comes to the current culture na nangyayari doon sa isang organization. Kasi po, kung hindi sila informed in the very beginning sa mga culture na meron yung isang company, of course, high tendency, baka mangangapa pa muna sila. So, aalamin na muna nila kung ano ba yung dapat na approach na mangyari. So, I suggest po, mas maganda na they are going through an orientation na muna. Actually, kasama din naman din po siya before onboarding process din talaga. Ino-orient yung mga employees para properly informed sila when it comes to the culture na meron sa isang company.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Jen. No? Next question we have from Sir Bonifacio Dumago. The family is still the best supportive. Ayan, hindi pala question, parang manifestation ito, ma'am, no? The family is still the best supportive environment. Sana makaabot sa families ang advocacy ng mental health. So that is our role, and that is what the Mental Health Advocacy Volunteer Program of the Star Labs is doing. No, we are not just doing conversations online, no, but what we are doing actually, no, as apart from this webinar, is actually going to the grassroots, advocating for real interventions in the community. Thank you, Sir Bonnie. Ayan. We still have questions here from GN Dumplings, no? So I believe this is not his real name, his or her. Good evening po. Parents of Gen Z sometimes punish big feelings instead of teaching regulation. How do I guide parents without making them defensive po? Go ahead, Prof. Jen. Parang challenging yan.
Okay, let me process the question. Parents of Gen Z sometimes punish big feelings instead of teaching regulation. How do I guide parents without making them defensive? Oh, I see. Okay. So, babangga kasi ito sa idea ng parenting style, no? Paano ba ang parenting approach ng mga magulang sa anak? Now, kung merong mga and sometimes pa naman may mga parents na ayaw nilang napagsasabihan sila, di ba? Kapag parang ikaw pa bilang isang anak, tapos parang ikaw pa yung masasabi sa parents mo, may mga usong-uso yung mga Filipino lines na anak lang kita. Wow, di ba po may mga ganyang drama. So, I would say na best thing talaga is to have an open communication with your parents. So, kung ma-establish ang open communication and safe space between you and your parents, everything else will follow. Kung merong bukas na communication between your parents and you, madali mo na lang masasabi yung mga agam-agam mo when it comes to the idea of punishment. And then, in addition lang din po, meron kasing authoritarian versus authoritative. So, approach na sumusunod ang bata dahil natatakot siya or sumusunod ang bata dahil sa tingin niya ito yung tamang gawin. How about you, sir? What's your thought about this? Wala pa kasi akong anak, kaya hindi ko na siya
Okay.
sobrang...
While I agree with you, ma'am, no, because really, no, Fury makes us question sometimes our approach, no, in raising our kids, raising our children, and I could say that I could relate to you, ma'am, no, the application of Furies because I have two, actually, manganganak tong asawa ko, baka mamaya or bukas, no. Yes, our second child. So, I already have 2 years old kid, no. I have a daughter. So what I could say is that we could not always apply the theory no all the time in raising our children because there are a lot of things no factors that we should consider no in raising our children. Etong mga theories kasi I agree with Virgilio Enriquez no that these were developed in the western countries and that the populations upon studying or developing these theories are only applicable to those population no mabuti sana kung merong application dito sa atin using our own population but I think meron naman siguro hindi lang na-publish or hindi lang na-establish talaga, no? But what I could say, ma'am, is that when dealing with parents who are sometimes punishing big feelings, no? Because kasi kultura sa atin dito na lalo na pag lalaki yung anak mo, wag kang umiyak, no? Wag kang umiyak kasi kapag umiyak ka, no, merong mga punishing, merong mga name calling na nangyayari, no? Because of showing big feelings. So, ako sa anak ko naman is that I'm very open no to processing her emotion. Lalo na 2 years old siya but I really start asking what are you feeling? How are you feeling today? Kumusta ka no? And that I think that develops the emotional intelligence of our children. That is the part of the parents no raising the children but for the parents when we deal with them I think it's the system itself no is quite problematic and what we can do with that is if they are open no if they personally ask what should I do as a parent no if because that the first thing is if they recognize that there is something wrong with what they're doing no kasi nare-recognize lang yan nila kapag umabot na sa point na yung anak nila nagkakaroon na ng mga suicidal ideation, mga thoughts na ganyan, no, nare-recognize lang yan nila. But kung wala pa, no, they don't know the extent of their parenting. Yun, I agree with ma'am, no, na iba't ibang parenting styles talaga. And possibly, namana lang din yan yung mga parenting styles nila. No? So I hope that this conversation sparks more conversation no and you start no as parents out there sino bang mga parents dyan taas ang kamay nandyan pa po ba kayo we are now joined by 62 participants no in this live stream nandyan pa ho ba sino bang mga parents dyan taas ang kamay say yes kamusta naman ho yung inyong mga parenting style if you could relate to it no ayan Miss Jen ang haba na ho ng sinabi ko
Okay lang, sir. Actually, it's
ayan
good din po na it's coming from the perspective of a parent para talagang
yes.
first-hand information yung nakukuha po nila.
Thank you, ma'am. No? So,
By the
ayan.
way, sir, congratulations.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Actually, nasa hospital na ho siya ngayon and I will go there no, after this. So, we have another question, ma'am. No, I think we can still cater, I think, 3 questions because it's already 7:16 and we are due to end no, by 7:30. So, from Sir Ann or Ma'am Ann Mudlong, how to raise happy and successful kids with grit. Go ahead, Prof. Jen.
Okay po. So, I won't be answering this one based on my experience because obviously I don't have kids pa. Pero kung ibabangga natin siya sa ating discussion earlier, na-mention ko na merong different stages na pinagdadaanan ang mga bata. So, kapag ka nandun na, yung idea of happiness and successful kasi, hindi tayo yung, I believe hindi tayo yung nagde-define yan. Ang idea of having, becoming happy and success, ang magde-define yan is yung mga anak din talaga natin or yung mga bata din talagang pinapalaki natin. Kasi maaring para sa'yo, masaya sila, pero sa kanila ba, personally, talaga bang masaya sila? So, I think yung mga anak natin, yung mas makakapag-define kung paano nila masasabing sila ay masaya at talagang nagtagumpay. Pero with grit, ang grit ay pwede mo naman din talaga siyang ituro as early as possible. So, kagaya po na na-mention natin sa discussion kanina, sa psychosocial development, kapag nasa gang stage na ang isang bata, they tend to establish peer relationships, makipag-interact with other people, with kalaro, yan. So, habang sila'y nakikisalamuha with other people, mas nagkakaroon sila ng chances na ma-develop yung grit or tibay ng loob. Kasi as early as their age, nakikipag-interact na sila with different kinds of people na pwedeng makatulong sa development ng grit na gusto natin i-establish for them.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jen, no, for your response. Ayan, no, may manifestation si Ma'am Adele, Aida Manglalan. Let us talk to our children calmly. I agree with you, Ma'am. Ayan, and
Actually,
yes,
like, sorry sir.
go ahead, Ma'am. Go ahead.
Ayun po, parang I just wanna add lang din 'no, ang saya bilang isang anak kasi, ang saya na uuwi tayo ng bahay na hindi tayo takot na masigawan tayo ng parents natin. Na uuwi tayo ng bahay kasi nandun tayo sa comfort zone natin, na makakapagpahinga tayo ng malaya kasi meron tayong ganitong klaseng magulang na kaya tayong kausapin sa kalmadong paraan, 'no? Kaysa naman yung parang establish tayo ng fear sa mga bata na instead na comfort zone nila yung bahay na uuwian nila, doon pa sila parang mas hindi komportable magstay. Kaya ang tendency, mas marami silang oras to go out or makipag-hangout na lang sa mga barkada. So, yun lang po.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. Jen, no? Sabi din ni Ma'am Gretchen Sabenicio, she is also a parent, no? Here, I try to really be open with boundary, no, of respect. Do you agree with her, Prof. Jen?
Yes po. Actually, na-mention din natin siya sa discussion kanina na as much as we create safe spaces for everyone, dapat we know when to draw proper boundaries. Na kahit gaano sila ka-comfortable with you, dapat malinaw pa rin. Or siniset pa rin natin yung mga expectations na kailangan nilang ma-meet miski pa paano po. Para hindi nagkakalimutan ng mga kailangang i-comply.
Thank you. No, I agree with you, ma'am. There is another question from Ma'am RB, Mona Lisa RB. Sabi niya, "Hi, Ma'am Jen. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. I want to ask, how can BEC workplaces support Gen Z mental wellness? Can you share simple activities you can apply at work po?" Go ahead, Prof. Jen.
Alright. Busy workplace, the usual 8 to 5 routine na ang daming nakatutok ka lang sa PC pero ang daming nangyayari. I just remember when I was in corporate before bago ako mag-academe po. Now, when it comes to mental wellness, may mga company na nag-a-assign ng HR role siya but ang focus niya is sa enrichment ng mga employee. So sila yung mga nagtatakda ng gawain kung paano makakapagbigay ng mental wellness sa mga empleyado. So example po niyan, merong mga month-end celebration. Tapos sa mga month-end celebrations na yun, doon nare-rewardan yung mga talagang matataas yung performance, o kaya kung hindi man awarding, nagkakaroon ng get-together, sabay-sabay na kumakain, yung mga employees or mga team, nagla-lunch out. So, ganun po, yung mga simple ways na pwede nating i-apply sa company despite the busy schedule na meron po tayo.
Thank you. Maraming salamat, Prof. Jen. And I think we'll have to have this next question, our last question for this session, no? Because it's almost 7:30 in the evening. And the last question is from Ma'am Lori D. Lori Lee L. Duhenia from Ayan, walang city and province. Allow me to read it, ma'am. How can we balance respecting Gen Z's right to speak up while teaching them respect and reverence for parents and elders? Ayan, may follow-up question pa. What are effective ways to relate to Gen Z children and students who feel their emotions are not validated? Ma'am Lori is from Bacoor City, Cavite. Go ahead, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Lori, for that question. So, again, when it comes to teaching children, babangga po talaga siya sa parenting style. So, the way how you give approach to your children or child, that's something that talks something about how they build respect po. So, it varies talaga sa parenting style. But when it comes to effective ways para makarelate sa Gen Z, best way is to, of course, be engaged with them. Like for example, may mga nauso ang TikTok. So sometimes yung mga anak natin or mga anak naglalambing na TikTok tayo. So if you really want to be intentional na makarelate sa kanila, you have to put conscious effort na okay, sige, go, let's try it, para then they feel na I engage ang parents sa akin to try this one. Okay? And then, moving forward, yung mga students who feel their emotions are not validated, it varies again kung paano ba natin ina-address yung concern nila. So, baka kaya nararamdaman nilang their emotions are not validated. Baka may concerns po ba silang hindi properly delivered, hindi properly seen and heard. That's why they tend to think na hindi sila na-validate. Kasi actually medyo bukas ngayon sa usaping mental health yung idea ng validation eh. So it depends po talaga kung paano natin ina-address yung mga perceived concerns ng mga estudyante. Paano natin napaparamdam sa kanila na naiintindihan talaga natin sila, na we understand where they are coming from. So, kung mararamdaman nila yung ganong level of safety or secure sa mga concern nila, then maybe that's the right time na they are heard or they are seen sa mga concerns po.
Thank you. Salamat. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Jen, no? Professor Jen, sa inyong tugon sa tanong na yon. So I think this is just another manifestation and another parang confirmation, no? Yung nasabi ni Ma'am Professor Jen, ito yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Abby. As a mother of 5 children na may different generation po, kailangan po talaga imagine, no? 5 children ito. So, baka naman ma-share ninyo, ma'am, kung ilang years yung gap, ma'am, para malaman namin. No? Kailangan po talaga natin na mag-adjust at makisabay sa trend nila ngayon. Hindi natin pwedeng gayahin or gawin sa kanila yung mga discipline na ginawa natin or ginawa sa atin before ng parents natin. Tayong mga parents ang mas nakakaalam kung paano disiplina ano nga bang disiplina ang dapat sa kanila. Kaya nga po as a parent, I am very interested to attend a seminar like this. Hindi lang para sa career development, pero for personal development din. So, I can, no? I agree with you, Ma'am Abby, no? Kasi, what I love about having this conversation, Professor Jen, this kinds of conversation is that hindi lang tayo nagiging source of input, hindi lang tayo nagiging source ng knowledge, kundi yung ating participants mismo ay nagbibigay ng kanilang mga input and we learn from them as well. That is the core, that is the essence of what we do in Star Labs. That learning, kahit anong session talaga sinasabi ko that learning is a two-way process for us. You learn from us and we learn from you. What do
Actually,
you
sir,
think?
yes, I'm very happy na kahit about nurturing Gen Z yung topic, we get to hear the comments, the perceptions ng mga parents, ng mga nasa corporate. Parang kahit yung topic is about Gen Z, may
Mm.
yung diversity niya talagang narinig at naipakita din talaga po ngayong gabi. That's why I'm very happy for that po.
I agree with you, no, Professor Jen. And I think that ends our open forum for tonight. We are very thankful for our participants who are very active, participative, and really the best audience I have so far, no, with my session. So maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. And before we end tonight's session, no, I'd like to hear your closing statement, Ma'am Jen. What would you like to say to our participants, na especially relative of your topic tonight? Go ahead, ma'am.
Alright po. Gusto ko lang po ulit magpasalamat kay Sir Ezri, kay Sir M sa pag-aalaga sa mga resource speakers and I'm very excited dahil magiging listener din ako sa mga susunod na weeks dahil may mga inihanda pa pong series of webinars sa mga susunod na weeks. And then, shout out na lang po ulit sa peer support group ng CBSU DASMA at sa aking mga sisters and colleagues na nanonood. Maraming salamat po for taking time. And nag-enjoy po ako. Parang gusto ko pa rin mag-volunteer po ulit sa mga susunod.
Yes, we would very much love that, ma'am, no? And yan ang nagiging opportunities or perks ng pagiging isang volunteer ng MAV program, ma'am, no? Because after you become a volunteer for the MAV program, what we do is we always tap you again for other sessions, no, in the future, kung ano yung aligned doon sa inyong mga field of practice, no? And we are very much more than or beyond grateful, ma'am, for your participation tonight, no? Nasa Luzon kayo, kami naman ay nasa Mindanao. Maraming salamat, ma'am, no, for your insightful session, and I think this establishes a standard. Yung sinasabi ko kanina, ma'am, doon sa ating mga next. And I am, without a doubt, no, I'm very looking forward doon, no, sa mga next sessions, no, kung gaano kaganda ang session natin tonight. I think, no, we could sustain that given ang ating lineup. And before we end this session, ma'am, allow me first, no, to invite our participants to the next na magiging sessions natin, because ito parang napakaliit lang, ma'am, no? On May 14, we will be having Sir Jason Christopher Paz for the discussion on the emotional weight of helping, preventing burnout and compassion fatigue among helpers. On May 21 will be the Right to Mental Health Foundation's Policies and Practice in the Philippine Context by Reverend Chaplain Abraham I. Felix, who is also a military psychotherapist. On May 28, we will be having my session, From Boomers to Gen Z, Understanding Personality Development in Today's Workplace. And in June 4, From Burnout Awareness to Sustainable Mental Health Solutions in Organizations, we will be having a forensic psychologist, Ma'am Erla Grace Agutaya. And on June 11, Local Government Units and Mental Health, Roles, Functions, and Community-Based Intervention by Dr. Maridel Viernes. June 18, Understanding Suicide Risk Factors, Warning Signs, and Evidence-Based Prevention Strategies by Sir Amante C. Ofiana. And on June 25, Psycho-Spiritual Approaches to Mental Health Support. Thank you so much sa lahat ng mga sumali sa atin ngayong gabi. Ang dami ho namin natutunan kay Ma'am Jen, at ang dami din namin natutunan sa ating mga participants. And also, apart from the National Mental Health Webinar free webinar series, we also have another upcoming training on May 23, the batch 3 of our mental health training, integrating law, policy, and culture, a comprehensive approach to mental health in the Philippines. We will be joined by one of the framers. Ibig sabihin ho, siya po yung isa sa sumulat ng RA 12080 para sa mga registered guidance counselors at registered psychologists at lahat ng mental health professionals who would like to apply in the Department of Education. And we will also be joined by the clinical psychologist from India, Ma'am Anita Raghavelu, to discuss the universal and culturally sensitive approaches in delivering mental health services. I hope you will also join us in this session. And again, Ma'am Jen, maraming salamat. Yung mga certificates ho ninyo ipapadala namin, no, based on the attendance for our participants, based attendance, kaya mag-attendance, comment your name and your cities and provinces para sa inyong attendance, and of course sa ating mga resource person, sa inyo Ma'am Jen, no, we'll also email your certificate of appreciations and also yung mga tokens ng appreciation namin para sa lahat ng mga resource person natin. It's already 7:32 in the evening, Ma'am Jen. 2 minutes now beyond 7:30. Actually, 7:33 na. So, Ma'am Jen, maraming salamat at sa ating participants. And this ends our first session of the MAV Program National Mental Health Free Webinar Series. Watch out on our next session next Thursday next week. Bye-bye and God bless.